is an overview on how I built my Dragon Slayer sword, and I'll be showing you my quick process from modeling to 3D printing the model. I'm currently using Maya on creating the basic shape of the sword, then used ZBrush on adding the details. What you're seeing right now is the finished sculpt of the model, and I added all the details in ZBrush and started building the base shape in Maya. This is the ZBrush sculpt that I did. Before starting any project, I would always recommend to have a reference image just like what we have here. Just because it's gonna make our process much more quicker, efficient, and faster as well. And it would greatly help if we have information such as the measurements of the sword or any type of measurements that we have. We're trying to create a model just as to make a 3D printed object, because it's better to have an idea of how big it would be when you 3D print the parts. When you have your reference image now, you're able to find the reference image. I'll be showing you the low res version of the model. So basically, when I start any project that I have, I always start with the most basic shape, just as cube or cylinders, helix. So in this model right here, what we're seeing, this is basically using a cube to start off the basic shape, as well as on the pommel, the handle, and the base. It is always a good practice to start with the most basic shape of the sword. So when I wanted to create the blade, just show you guys how I would do it. So when we turn on our reference image, and let's just turn off the basic shape currently right now. So I'm just gonna get a cube, put it on the side right there, make it a little bit bigger, and then just follow reference image that we have here. So it's better to have it on an orthographic view right here, and then just create or just manipulate the vertex to get the shape right there and right there. Same goes as this, there. I'll select the face, extrude, there. That scale is inside, then go on the perspective view, and then I'm just gonna do a merge in the middle. And then now we have a basic shape of the model. Go to vertex right there. And now that I see that there is a sharp edge on this sword, I would just simply add an edge in the middle of the sword right here, or I could add that kind of detail, and then let's just insert an edge loop right there. So just select the face in front. This is how I would model it. So scale it down in the middle, and then let's make sure it fits the edge on the reference image that we have here. Going down like that. So that is basically how I would do it. I'm just gonna add a supporting edges so that when I subdivide, because if we subdivide this right now, it would look like this. So if we add a subdivision like this, or just like select the whole thing and bevel the edges, then add a 2, and then probably 0.1 segments just like that. And if we press 3, we have this nice looking blade. So that's basically how I would do it. I would definitely recommend on doing this, because it'll make your life much more easier when you try to manipulate or change the model. So now, after having all of this, let's jump into ZBrush, and I'll show you guys how I added all the details like what we have on this sculpt right here. We are here in ZBrush, and I am going to show you a quick way on adding the details in. So we have the two poly groups. We have one in the middle and one on the outside of the blade. We are doing this so we can isolate the outside part and then mask it, and then add some deformations or changes in the mesh. What we're going to do is to add more divisions so that we have more details there. And then we could just go select the middle part, it out, then just invert it, and probably do a smooth on the edge so that's not too sharp right now. So we just go back a little bit of there, and we go back to the high. And then there's two ways we can add the details. So we can add it manually, where like we can go standard brush, and then we go add an alpha, and then just like drag and add it. something like this, you know, like slowly like that. Or we could just use a surface mask. So we go to here, surface, and then noise. Apply the noise that's being added here, mask by noise. I've already picked the mask in advance so that we can click it out, but you can create your own mask on different photo editing software. So we have here the mask in the mesh, but it's not yet applied. There's no deformations applied yet, so that's gonna give it a little bit of a smooth on the edge, and then go to deformation, and then go to inflate, probably add 1. So it's gonna give us this nice looking texture right there, but it's too subtle, so we could add a little bit, 1 more, so it's like equals to 2. So now we have the details like that, and then what we could do is just go ahead and then polish this one out so that we could clean out the edge right here. It's gonna globally relax the entire blade, so let's give it a second. And after doing that, we have this details right there. I might do some fixing, and then if I do have my fix, you know, do all the polishes and stuff, this would be the detailed version, the final version that I was able to do. That's what I've shown you earlier. And then we could just go ahead and go to the low res mesh, and you see they're the same thing. After that, after I do the sculpting, adding details and stuff, I might do the keys, adding the keys to prepare it for 3D printing. Of course, do the cut as well. So if you go click Boolean, so we can see all the details, but we cannot see the connectors or like this stuff right here. Go ahead, I prepared a mesh right there that would like show everything out, so we don't see the keys, and then we can just turn it on this one as well, the Boolean, so see all those details right there. Pretty much that's the setup that I did. Just have the key Boolean and then the key connectors, which is a little bit smaller than what the Booleans are, but then the result would be like this. It is pretty much ready to be sent to Maya and prepare it for 3D printing. So after this, we could just go Boolean, make Boolean mesh, and it'll give it a little bit of time to process everything. So what it's gonna do is it's going to connect the connectors here for the keys, and then I'll show you the result after that. So after it processed, we are going to have this mesh right here. It looks kind of odd. It'll make sense. So if you're gonna have my shortcut here, auto groups, let's do, you go to Polypane, then just turn off the colorize. If you go to subtool, this one should be separate on each sections. After that, split the parts. Then yeah, we get all of these parts right here. I'm just showing you guys how I did this, how it looks like. This is the idea of it. Part there, you know. This one looks kind of messed up, probably because there was an issue when it did the Boolean process. But yeah, that is the base of it. And then Prusa Slicer to show you guys how I prepared it for 3D printing. Here in Prusa Slicer, I am going to prepare the 3D model for 3D printing. And what I did was I separated all of the object as each section. So the tip, I just separated them as twos. That's what I did on my sword in this case, and just separated the handles as well as the dowels that's going to be connected onto the tip. You can see here, I have this setup, just 2 of them, one on the base and one on the tip, and then the other would be the mid part, which is this guy and this guy. That's what I pretty much did for the sections, and for the settings I just used a 2.5 infill for the inside of the model and added the brim, and for the print settings just added a 5 perimeter so that it's strong on the inside. So if we could take a look on side here, so we have a quite thick and thin infill, but then quite thick perimeter so that it's stronger on the shell on the outside, and then we also have the pipe on the inside where we slide in the pipe. That's pretty much the setup for Prusa. Nothing much, and I'm using Cobra Max, Cobra 2 Max, and Cobra 2 Plus for my printer. This is the overview of the workflow that I did from modeling to adding the details and preparing it for, and then printing as well.